Hey everyone, back for a special episode of D'ART Shtajio's vlog. D'ART Shtajio, anime studio here in Tokyo, Japan. Arthel CEO. I worked with Arthel, made this studio with him for years ago, and have worked on a whole bunch of pilot films, commercials, music videos, Netflix stuff. Sturgill Simpson, Sound and Fury, etc. A whole lot of anime, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Attack on Titan, One Piece episodes, etc., etc. And all right, it's a special episode because anyway, I'm Henry Thurlow and
I'm Arthel
Isom. And I guess I'll just cut to it. I'm beating around the bush here. It's a special episode, not your average episode.
Why is it special?
It's a special episode because it is an announcement episode.
Yeah.
I am sorry to say it's a bittersweet episode.
Yeah.
Arthel and I have that dreaded thing that you hear from time to time.
Yeah, right? Like
creative
all differences.
The fact of the matter is, just to pull the Band-Aid right off, I will be leaving. I will be departing D'ART Shtajio, effective essentially immediately. Who we've known for a little while.
Yeah.
Now is the time.
We've had our talks and stuff and crying in the corner. But yeah, like you said, the creative differences, that's such an interesting, and I think we even talked about it before, like a few years ago, because we were talking about some video game companies. And it happens with all the companies, right? Like you have like these people who like they kind of start, but then somewhere along the line, like some of the people who started with the company then leave and do their own things. And in my mind, I always hope that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Me too. We were always trying to figure out like, okay, wait, what? So I even read those books, like was it the game? Not the game. What was it? That was a really good one. The new creators that came out with a book. What is that title of the book? Have you read that? Yeah. Shoot, man, I'm so bad at remembering titles. But there's a good book. The people who created Duke Nukem, stuff, like the two creators, like there was like a major like split.
The Masters of Doom.
Oh, the Masters of Doom. Is that what the book is called?
It's the people, John Romero.
Yeah. John Carmack. Yeah.
I love that book.
Yeah, it's a great.
It's
I've read it twice. It's an amazing book, and but it talks about that, right? Because they also had creative, and I feel like, and I remember when I read that book, I instantly imagined that. I guess I think you would be like Carmack. I think because wait, Carmack was the one who.
Carmack was the first that they made Doom.
But one of them was specifically a programmer who thought like the world.
He built the engine.
He built the engine, right? And he felt that the world should have his code kind of thing.
Right.
Whereas Romero was more the creative and business and like, and I always felt like, oh yeah, Henry's definitely like Carmack and I'm more like Romero probably. But
I don't know the specifics between them, but I would not deny that at all. Yeah, no. When people hear, I'm saying people, I mean myself. Even when I read, so and so had creative difference, I'm like, they're faking something from something much bigger, and I'm sure that is often the case. Here, I kind of am glad we have this opportunity to do a vlog. I want to say honestly, like it really is that. There is no specific incident or anything like that happened between us. We've been great friends for a long time. Since I came to Japan, a couple years into Japan, I met you for the first time. And we were friends for many years before then, this studio.
It's funny, like John, the person who introduced me, like he saw a vlog, and then he was like, he sent me a message. He was like, dude, is that the guy that I told you about that was at that Pink Cow? The Pink Cow event that you guys met?
Oh, it wasn't Pink Cow. It was Dr. Sketchy's. It wasn't the Pink Cow at that point. It was a way Pink Cow was like 10 places.
I thought it was funny because I'm just randomly mentioning his name. And you guys don't know who he is, but like he was a schoolmate of mine, and then he went to Dr. Sketchy's, and that's how I met Henry. Because like they were like, oh dude, there's this.
I met him, and we got to talking. He's like, I know a person in the anime industry. I was like, no, you don't. No one's cracked in. And then he's like, yeah, this guy who's a background artist, and I'm like, but why? He's not famous. He should be if he's in the anime industry. And then we
and it was so crazy because he saw the vlog. He's like, oh dude, like. The white guy that's sitting next to you looks like the guy I introduced you to, and I was like, "It's that guy." I was like, "That's so funny." But
butterfly effect. One instance changed the course of history.
Yeah, man, it's so crazy.
I'm glad to have the opportunity to say it. It really is just creative differences. In the sense that here's how I've kind of determined whether it's my time at a job or not. Because I worked for Studio Piero too, right, for over a year. And when I got into Studio Piero originally, I was like, that's it. This is my forever job, because I finally cracked into a big famous anime company in Japan. And that was the goal of moving to Japan. And it was for a long time. Well, not as long as here. Here, I've been here for years, right? But for there, it was the first half a year plus was that. But when individual problems keep popping up, look, every week, everyone has issues at work. Oh, they like this decision that was made. They didn't like this decision. They got restricted from doing their creative freedom over here, but they got it over here. You have to take the good and the bad at the same time. But when you start waking up and asking yourself every morning, is this what I want to be doing? Like even with the punches, and the things that might suck, is this what I want to be doing? I always answer in this industry, like, heck yeah, I'm working on that series, I'm doing that. But when I start realizing the answer is, I don't know, I don't really know. Like, it seems maybe there's a bit more frustration happening and a bit less of the exact type of creativity I want to be putting into this project, right? When that happens a week in a row, okay, you just had a bad week. But when it happens a few months in a row, my mind starts to go to, if things were to be rearranged, like look inward and look outward. Don't just blame outward. Look inward too. Like, is this right for you anymore, right? And if the combination of that is, I think it's time for the next step. I think it's time that you start doing something a little different, waking up and re-asking yourself that question. And unfortunately, after years of being here, I worked no job in my life as long as I have with here, not even close. But it started just being, I think at the end of the day, you want to take the studio in one direction and I want another, essentially. And fact of the matter is, you're the CEO and owner of the studio. I'm not going to get my way. And that's okay. That's the way it works, right? You want to go one direction, I want to go another. I ain't never getting mine, essentially.
We tried to.
Of course,
throughout these years. It's not like
of course not. Again, it wasn't a specific thing. It was just a general overview of it. And that's where I'm like, well, then it's on me, Henry. It's on me. Do you want to stick it out, or do you want to try something new? And that question was asked of myself for a long time until I came to the decision. You know what? D'ART's going to be successful. I have all the faith in the world. I think we're still on good terms. These are always bumpy at the end here, but I think we're all good. Let's give it some time. I think I'm pretty sure it'll be all good. And and I think just, D'ART, super successful over here doing this. I really don't, and then me, and I'm feeling positive. I think I made the right decision. We're gonna go over here, and I'm gonna do some amazing stuff over there.
A few years from now, I'm gonna be walking down the street and we see like this.
Oh yeah, I shouldn't have quit D'ART.
Sitting in the corner.
No.
Like throw some change.
Did
I know you?
Do I know you? And then I'll be like, I'm Henry, and you'll be like, no. Change and then keep walking.
No, you're not Henry. I take your name, put it in my pocket. No, but creative differences is such a difficult thing, right? Because we're creators, and I feel like that is the heart. Like that for creators, that is our soul and reason for existing, right? And I think that's why creative differences are the hardest thing to resolve. I think, right? Because that is why you came all the way to Japan.
Exactly.
With a specific choice and reasoning, and beyond all the difficulties, that was what kept you on your path here. So of course, that is going to headbutt with a different.
It's my dream to come to Japan and then do the exact type of animation I want and follow my dreams in life. And this exact same thing applies to you. I want to come to Japan, learn under the best, and then build an anime studio in Japan that does things this way, right? And so together, that was an amazing force. But if it comes to the point where, like, no, I want to go in that direction, I want to go in that direction, and we can't get into specifics, and that frustrates people, because they're like, what exactly are you talking about? But you guys can imagine, just on multiple projects, it was like, no, this is how things need to work. No, this is how these things need to work, both on the creative end and on the production end. Do this first, it'll go smoother. Do this first, it'll go smoother. And this is how it needs to be resolved and drawn, and this is how it needs to be resolved and drawn. And if that creates more of a hindrance to the production process rather than like a flourishing, like positive influence on the production process, that's when I think you just need to, as a creator, ask yourself some serious questions. It is where you are where you really feel you should be, in which case maybe you need to start adjusting your opinions on things, right, to fit this studio. Or if you're so stubborn as your opinions aren't going to change, then are you in the right space doing the right thing?
Maybe there's a different space for you. I think obviously for Henry and I is different than perhaps some of our viewers. Because I think some people might be like, oh, I just joined the studio and I've been here for a year and I have created a difference. No. That's different. Right? That means you just started working. Yeah. And I feel like in that case, your job and your goal is to mold to the environment that you're in, right? Because now you're working. But in this case, like we're both heads, right? And the top. And so we, it definitely, like I read this interesting book and it says that people who start off like founders of a company or people who start a company at the same time or something will never have the same goal. And it's like, that's interesting, right? And it's because it's impossible. Everyone has, even though they say that people, even though everyone thinks their goals are the same and they think their goals are in line, that is impossible. And I think that's why all companies, right, the people split at the end, or split, not the end, but split somewhere in there. It's because, ultimately, I think that's when you start to realize that, I guess our like the goal that you wake up to, or the
dream in life,
dream goal is it truly, it becomes more clear, I guess, and you're like, actually it was this,
in the last episode of the vlog, last time's episode, we talked about like things we learned, and we both mentioned we're just realizing more about ourselves also, and like exactly the processes that we like. So certain things that came up later on weren't even things anywhere in our mind at the beginning. You know what I mean? Because as you grow and live, you find out more about the exact direction you want to take.
You find out about the direction you want to go. You find out about yourself, right? You find out about it. And as being a CEO, like certain things are just super difficult, because I do feel like so we said in the beginning, like it's not that Henry's creative ideas, I'm just opposed to them. But it's like, so I did a live today where we were talking about what's the...
Ben saved the day. Our cameraman, Ben, everybody. I don't know if you can see it. In the last one, perfect the entire run, 50 plus episode run.
Like but let's see what I've lost my train of thought. Like, so what I was saying, also in the live, like that, one of the guests had a really good question, which was, or one of the people on our live had a really good question, which was, like, what's more important, right? Like, the creative vision or the corporate responsibilities, I guess, like that. And I was like, that's a really good question, because I think that is every CEO's like dread, right? Like, because everyone, like, we start a company and the goal is to have creative freedom, right? And to be able to create, but there are so many responsibilities that we have too, that have nothing to do with creativity. And it's like,
without going into specifics, so I'm gonna be good here. So also don't worry about my next sentence. But like some of the creative differences truly aren't between just us, like we butted heads in any way. It really is just the overall direction and what is necessary for just the natural progression of this studio. And to be just a little bit more specific about that, so you understand, and I'm putting myself in the firing range, I think, in this one. I have certain stubborn ways I like to do things, and that I don't like the West's way of doing certain things. I left the West and the New York animation industry because, well, partially I just loved the Japanese, but also because I was uniquely frustrated with certain ways that they did things. Now, our clients are very often big Western clients.
We work with the West a lot.
And that is natural, and that was even one of the things we said we were doing when we started the studio, right? Like, hey, the West can contact an anime studio now because we speak English, and we'll actually pick up the phone and you can get through to us. But certain demands from them are unreasonable to me. I feel like I left those behind. And obviously, as a studio, it's very responsible that the client's always right. Let's work with. This is an advertisement for D'ART, essentially. Arthel's your man. Call Arthel. He's going to work with you and get you what you need. But that is true. And to be quite honest, Henry is not your man for that.
It's interesting because
I won't just think about your feelings.
I never thought about it that way. Not that way, but like even though we talk about this often, And just now it dawned on me, like perhaps there's another reason why it doesn't bother me as much, because I haven't had the experience, so I've never worked in the West. So I think for me, and I just thought about this, like I just had this epiphany when you were explaining it. So perhaps for me, it's because everything to me is like a learning experience. It's new, and so for me, it's the same way. That was the same reason why I was able to work in Japan, because when I came here, I think most people are like, "What? You're sleeping at your desk and like everyone's like essentially just living at the studios. What you work, you made like no money, but you stayed there, right?" But it was new to me, and I was like, "Oh, everyone's doing this. Okay, cool. I guess that's." And so I feel
those are your Western friends asking you, "Why are you doing
why
that?"
am I doing
and
that?
you didn't know that that's weird in the West. You're like, "Isn't this just normal?"
Yeah,
work?
I just thought that this is how the animation industry is everywhere, right? And so, and I just thought about this just now when you were explaining it. I was like, that's probably what it is, because when I talk to the Western clients and things, everything's new. So I'm just like, oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting process. Oh, yeah.
And if I'm in the same meeting, I'll be like, they're asking that because they're planning on, cutting half of our stuff in they have this in the contract, like they can re-edit after we send, because I already know they're going to cut all my work and then, re-alter all the effects, and it's not going to be anything I sent. And so I'll want to be combative, which for me isn't like fighting or trying to have problems with the client. It's just defending the artistic integrity of exactly what we wanted to make. But I do understand it's not good for business, and so there you go. It's like it's just two different ways of thinking. But again, he'll get you what you want. The right man is staying, so trust in D'ART clients. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but it is such a hard thing, like because that's what people often throw that word around, like integrity, and then I feel like I'm always, I mean, who knows? Like I feel like I'm lost. Like one thing that I do super respect about Henry, I feel that Henry has integrity, and you're like, what is integrity? But like, I feel like he knows who he is, and he knows what he wants. Like when he puts the pencil down his paper, I feel like he has a true understanding of what he likes to create, what he enjoys, what he likes to watch, and what he likes to read, and what things get him hot and stuff like that. And I don't know, like I always felt that I don't know that. And like it's like part of me is searching for that inner child or something. Like I don't know why I don't have that part of me yet, which is probably why I can be a little bit more agreeable for things, because I don't know those things, and I'm like, and it's I don't know, it's my coming out moment to you guys, because it is sad. I do want to have like a stronger fire, right? Like about this is who I am, And then sometimes I feel like I have no idea who I am, and like I don't. And I often wonder why, right? Like, why don't I know who or what, like, I stand for or something like that, Like, I don't know, maybe what I stand for is just experiences. I don't know, but I do respect that about Henry.
Thank you very much. But it's interesting. It really is super consistent with everything we've done. Because in all the various topics we've had, every time that it came to like, what do you like, or what's your opinion on something, I would be like, and then but it's interesting. You do have one answer, which is Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell lit an absolute fire in you. I would almost suggest. When's the last time you really watched that? Like as a fan, watched it, like to enjoy it, not just a sequence to check out it did something. Maybe rewatch that, because something, even if it didn't happen many times in your life and to many anime series or things, it certainly did happen when you watched Ghost in the Shell. Yeah, and so it can happen clearly.
Yeah, I was. This is not to kind of derail the topic, but I'm reading this book right now called Story. I think it's called The Great Storytellers, I think, or something like that. You guys know that I'm really bad with titles, but I think it's called The Great Storyteller, and it talks about everyone has a story, right? And that's what I'm linking this up to what he just said. It's like there's something, and there's one chapter that talks about that fire that lit that was the motivation to get these great people like Steve Jobs and Oprah Winfrey to go in the direction like when Oprah first, the example in this book that they gave is that when Oprah first started off as a TV host, that wasn't the thing that lit her fire, right? But then when she was being an interviewer, like something, even though she got demoted in pay and all this stuff like that, something about that told her that was who she was. And then, so like it brings back to anime, like you said, like, when I watched Ghost in the Shell, something made me leave America to come here, right? And I feel like, so when I look at you and I think about your answers to things and how you go about life, I often think about that, and I was thinking about that recently. I'm reading this book now. You know, it's like, yeah, what is that? You know, in me, and you know, and I feel like that's a super important question that I have to answer because, of course, you know, like I'm helming a ship here, right? It's like where is the direction that they are, right? And you know, what are we doing? And you know, but you know, but yeah. So yeah, Henry, he clearly knows what he wants, and like, and it's.
I think I know what I want and what I need to learn and where I can do that and all these different things. You know, follow me on all the Instagram and all that stuff to see where I'm going next. I won't make that episode about this, but where I'm going.
I'm gonna go on the street. I'm gonna see him.
Oh yeah, where I'm going.
I'll post photos.
Henry's to be a bum at the corner.
Henry's on the next block, you guys. Like this month, look when that's fine, Henry.
1 month. That's like the fastest drop.
Yeah, 1 month. Give him a year.
But yeah. That is, yeah. I mean,
it'll probably be the opposite. It'll be the opposite. Like,
wait, you know what? I'm telling you, no, dude. I'm telling you right now. The one thing is that I've always said is I never bet against you, and I would never bet against me. And so I think you're gonna do great, and I think I'm gonna do great. And let's
always bet on black.
Always, so yeah. What can I say? Don't bet on me. But no, seriously, like, you know, and who knows where life takes us. So like, this is where we're going now. But you know, let's see, because you're gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. There could always be a project in the future that brings us back together. Don't assume super soon, but you know.
Yeah.
Life takes you in weird directions, and plus, look, the industry, the worldwide animation industry is super small, let alone just the Japanese anime industry. So the thought of us not working directly on same projects and stuff is almost unthinkable.
Yeah.
So you know, let's just see where it goes from here.
Yeah. Oh, and then since there's a caveat, like for all of our SJW fans out there, like, what do you mean all this? But I'm like, it's an allusion to an old movie. So, you know, Passenger 57. So don't, like, you know,
we're having fun, folks. Racist? We're having fun. We're having fun, folks. There is such a thing as fun.
There is such a thing as, you know, humor in 2021. You know?
It still exists in little corners of the world.
Yeah. You know, everything is, you know, has some sort of agenda. You know? Trying to move the moment. Yeah, I had that. I just think about the guy. I don't think I ever told our fans about that, right? Like, I had some crazy lady message me from the West, because you know how I would always wear my masks and you know, face masks before the vaccine and things were spread out and things like that. You know, and then it was like some crazy Twitter followers and message. Arthel is going on some rampage, and he has this secret agenda to make the world wear masks, and he's trying to force us over here in America. I'm like, that is so crazy.
It worked. I saw Joe Biden, the president of the United States, wearing a mask. And I don't think it's a leap. I think that was you.
I was influenced by
you did that, and then the president of the United States is influenced.
Like, man, shoot. Hey,
agenda work. World leaders doing what you want them to do.
D'ART is leading the world. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm really interested in reading everyone's comments about Henry, about his news, and definitely, you know, obviously if you guys aren't following him yet, like, follow him, right? And
in the studio, obviously.
See what's. Well, yeah, it's such a crazy thing, you know, because obviously we really relied on Henry for a lot of things, and you know, so like it's kind of be like a hole, you know, that we're gonna have to try to fill, and
you're gonna be fine. It'll work out.
It'll be very, you know, it's gonna be some turbulent times. Tune in tomorrow. What has happened today?
It'll be look. A lot of the things I knew that you didn't, now you're forced to suddenly know. So think about it as this: like in a year's time, the amount of things you know are going to be ridiculous because you're forced to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So always going up, always learning, always getting better.
Cool. That's a positive. Yeah, that's interesting.
It's positive. I think it'll be positive all around. Because also consider this, you know. Creative differences don't come without creating their bumps, And so those bumps are kind of gone and out of your way also. Certain things that I
see
would
what
step
you're
in the
saying,
way of and clearly cause frustration of because of my passion in one way or another.
Yeah.
So perhaps this also clears out the way for some smoother things.
We'll see, you know, like bumps are important, right? You always need bumps.
Now it's funny, now you're putting the negative spin on everything.
No, yeah, bumps are important. But we'll see, right? You know, like, no one's ever happy. Well, actually, like, you know, I'm not happy that Henry quit and stuff, so that's always a bummer, you know, but so, you know, we obviously are super, you know, excited for the new road that Henry's going to take. I'm excited to see what happens next and where he works next. Like, I don't know yet, and so I'm going to find out.
A couple days. I think after this vlog is posted, I'll wait like 48 hours or something.
Yeah, okay. And then, so that'll be interesting, you know, just to kind of, I'll be learning with the rest of you, like what his next path will take. And then even for us, like we have some big news that you guys don't know about yet. And, you know, what will the new road for D'ART be? You know, we have some really cool, fun stuff to introduce to you guys. It would be good to have Henry be a part of it, but you know, like he's gonna get some stuff, and we're gonna be doing some stuff. And
I'm telling you, man, the future's wide open. Let's see. Let's just see where it goes. It's all gonna be good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any last words? Any last words? Thank you guys for checking out this whole vlog series. I hope you continue it without me. I'm sure Steven and Rajan would be more than happy to jump on with you, or even just the two of them. I'm not a part of that, but I encourage you guys to keep it up because I think that the people that specifically, well, we don't have a ton of viewers, but the people that do view, I think appreciate the inside look into the anime industry. And, you know.
Yeah, we're gonna try to keep it up. You guys know me. I'm on it every week. We try our best, but yeah. But we do appreciate, you know, that we're on like, so this is what, 51.
This would be 51.
So definitely we want to keep it going. So please stay tuned. And I don't know what the direction will be from here. Maybe it'll be different staff and, you know, kind of talking about different things. But we'll try to keep it interesting, I guess. So.
Thank you everyone for all the support. Please continue to support both of us into the future. D'ART Shtajio, Henry out.
Henry out.
Shtaji ga daiji. The foundation is important. Shtaji ga daiji. Bye everyone.
Peace.